promising multi-dinero, multi-divorces, multi-ficky-fick all day long. Gatsby talked as Alan Ladd in 1949 and in 1974 as Robert Redford. They had both been greeted respectfully. But Luhrmann didn't seem afraid of the book. His picture was the first with the ambition to throw Fitzgerald's bitter dismissal of the movies back at him, or his ghost, and people responded by throwing Fitzgerald's words back at Luhrmann, which were coded in the argument between movies and literature that began with the birth of the movies and will never end. "The critical fallout is pretty much identical for all my films," said Luhrmann, who had earlier adapted Romeo and Juliet and Moulin Rouge when his Gatsby came out. "It's not just mild disappointment. It's like I've committed a violent, heinous crime against a personal family member." Most of the reviews were contemptuous. Underneath, you could perhaps hear what you can hear in the debate over which Great Gatsby edition to stock. Panic over the kidnapping of a delicate moral flower of American democracy by a foreign sex trafficker. The same note was sounded in Joseph O'Neill's Pardon Edward Snowden, a short story published in late 2016 in The New Yorker that compared the awarding of the Nobel Prize in Literature to Bob Dylan in October to the election of Donald Trump as President of the United States less than a month after that, and ended with a call to protect the good, the true, and the beautiful. Never give in. Never not resist. Luhrmann's vulgarity is designed to win over the young audience, and it suggests that he's less a filmmaker than a music video director with endless resources and a stunning absence of taste, David Denby said in The New Yorker. Luhrmann's taste is as garish as his heroes, and for much of its running time, his film is an intoxicating cocktail of color, lights, and noise, outlandish party scenes, fantastical New York cityscapes. Tim Walker wrote in The Independent in London. It is crass and superficial, and yes, it's often difficult to decide whether the director is exposing the hollowness of the era's decadence or simply fetishizing the suits. It was a conversation feeding on itself, to the point where critics risked credibility if they deviated too far from the pole. There was talk of an immortal American tragedy buried in Luhrmann's flash and dazzle, lumbering across the screen like the biggest, trashiest, loudest parade float of all time. You just can't buy publicity like that. But as Pauline Kael said of Bonnie and Clyde in 1967, it is generally only good movies that provoke attacks. Bad movies don't send critics to the ramparts. They file them by genre and move on. Luhrmann had struck a nerve. It might have been that going on a century since Fitzgerald's story first appeared, Luhrmann had completed it, brought it to a fullness that, when the final note was hit, revealed that the movie was what the book had been searching for all along. He tore the tale around the edges, giving it a new frame. He filled in the plot with drunken visions that could make you think a movie director had somehow divined what a long-dead novelist wanted to say but couldn't. "I could have wished the narrator more positively dramatized," Fitzgerald's friend Paul Rosenfeld, a deeply respected music critic, wrote to him in 1925. "Don't you find him, at present, a trifle too passive, and the cause of his narration within himself not sufficiently developed? There were hints, to be sure, but he, too, was a great Gatsby." Whether or not he ever read Rosenfeld's letter, Luhrmann picked up those hints and ran them into a story hiding inside the one Fitzgerald told. The present argues with the past, and the past argues with the present, but the present owns the rights. Sometimes the present can see or sense elements of wish, disorder, beauty, and violence that lie latent but unrealized in an artifact of the past, some work that aspired to become a work of art and last forever, and then bring those elements to life and set them loose in the imagination in a way that the putative author never allowed himself or herself to imagine in the first place, or in a way that he or she did imagine but didn't dare chance. Characters that in the past knew their place may refuse to stick to their assigned roles and try to take over the story. Themes that were once obvious become occluded. Ideas, bits of dialogue, rhythmic shifts that once